Hello and welcome to Cyber and Secure. My name is Sam. For this video, stick around and I'll give you my 5 tips on how to better secure your Wi-Fi. So, you just gone out and bought yourself a router. You plugged it in, use the default credentials. Congratulations, you did it. You're online. You're watching this video, you're surfing the web, on your favorite websites, doing whatever. However, there's a lot of ways hackers can gain access to your Wi-Fi straight out of the box, and I'm here to help you secure your Wi-Fi. First, I'm going to show you how to access your router login information. Next, I'm going to teach you how to log in using those default credentials. After we're logged in, we're going to change the default credentials. These are given to you by your router provider. Typically, they are very unsecure, such as admin or password and admin. After we've changed that, we're going to set up a SSID or the Wi-Fi name, and we're going to teach you how to choose a good password. After that, I'm going to show you how to hide the SSID. Then I'm going to give you a tip for better access control on your Wi-Fi. As we're configuring the Wi-Fi, I'm going to show you how the encryption, different encryptions and what they mean, and the best one to choose for your Wi-Fi. We also have friends and family that come over all the time. They bring in their devices. Some are clean, some are questionable. I'm going to teach you how to set up a guest Wi-Fi for them. Finally, I'm going to talk about WPS, what that means, and how to better secure from it. So first up, we're going to want to access our router login information. Typically, it's going to be underneath the router. As you can see, mine is admin and password. Yours may be similar, maybe different, depends on what router model you have. Also, it gives you the IP address. This is just the address you'll type in your typical URL bar. So the first thing you're going to do is pull up a browser on your PC. You're going to type in that 192.168.1.1 or 0.1 or whatever it may be on your router. You're going to use the default login that they gave you. From there, you're going to be pulled up onto the interface with the router interface. Yours may look different, may look like mine. You can see mine's a Netgear, so if you have a Netgear, it's probably very similar. So after we're in the interface, we now can change the default login, what we just used, as you know, admin password is not the most secure, in my opinion. You may disagree. So this can be separate to your Wi-Fi password. This is going to be a password that is just used to log in here. I suggest a passphrase, something complex, something that you'll remember. I mean, if you use a password manager, that would be ideal. Something that's different to all other accounts as well. So as you can see here, we can change the default logins, you know, your old passwords, your new password, and then re-enter that one again. And if you have security questions, you know, feel free to use those as well. That just helps you if you forget that password, get back into the account. Like I said before, password manager, I believe in them. I think they're great. I'm actually going to do a video later on about passwords, so be sure to check that one out too. The reason we want to change this password, and the reason it's the first step in securing your Wi-Fi, is because there's websites such as routerpasswords.com, free to use for everyone. Very beneficial if you forget or you don't know your login information. You can go here, find the model, scroll down, and select the one that is applicable to you. However, people that forget that router login information aren't the only people that use the website. This website is also used by hackers. They'll use that, they'll get the banks of default logins and use that to their advantage to take advantage of your Wi-Fi. So step 1 is complete. We've changed the default logins. Now that our interface is a lot more secure, we can move on to step 2, which is securing and configuring your Wi-Fi name and password. So the SSID, which is just the name of your Wi-Fi, it's the name that broadcasts out for you to connect your devices to. This can be anything you want. Personally, I wouldn't advise using something that can relate to you, such as a house number, a name, your last name, your pet's name, something like that. Something that if someone's driving by in the neighborhood, in your apartment complex, for example, that can pinpoint exactly which Wi-Fi is whose. So pick something generic, pick something different, pick something that's, you know, not really personally identifiable, isn't something that can be identified to you. This is going to give you the best results for securing the SSID. You can also hide the SSID. This is a debatable topic whether or not this is actually a security step. Some people believe it is, some people don't. I believe if you live in maybe an apartment complex where there's maybe 15 to 20 Wi-Fi routers available, it's probably good to hide that. That way, you know, it just doesn't get picked, or you're not sure what your neighbors are doing, or if someone's able to break in, they have plenty to choose from. You don't want yours to be on that list, so go ahead and disable that one. If you're in a neighborhood or if you're isolated, maybe a little bit more convenient for you to keep that broadcasting. But that's totally up to you. You know, personally, I don't hide mine. There's ways that, you know, if someone was wanting to find out my Wi-Fi SSID, they can use sniffing tools to find it, regardless of whether or not if I disable it or not. Now with the password, again, this is going to be a different password to what you chose earlier. Same complexity. Although, I mean, I do advise using passphrases. I mean, mine here says, you know, 63 characters long is the available limit. I personally don't want to be typing in 63 characters into my TVs and into other devices that aren't really easily configurable. So choose something strong, you know, relatively long, something that you don't mind typing in, you know, especially after watching this video, I'm sure you're going to be typing it in several times to configure the devices to the router. So pick something that's easy to remember, that is completely separate to all other accounts, and that is not the one that you used earlier. Encryption. What encryption should you choose? For the encryption, you want to choose WPA2. This is a very secure encryption method for wireless right now. Encryption essentially allows more time to brute force to break it. It's the more secure the encryption, the longer it will take and the more computing power it will take to actually break that encryption. WPA2 is a great one on today's market. If yours is supporting WEP or WPA, do not use those. Computing power we have today and a small amount of time, you'll be able to break passwords that use WEP encryption. WPA a little bit more secure than WEP, but not very. So as I said earlier, we will have those friends and families and some questionable friends and families that come over that you want to make sure that your Wi-Fi is secure from them, but you still want to be a good host and give them the Wi-Fi. So to do that, you'll configure a guest Wi-Fi. This guest Wi-Fi will just essentially be a second Wi-Fi that's separate to yours. You're allowed to add friends, families, and also I recommend adding your Internet of Things devices, such as your Alexas, some washing machines, fridges, any of those kind of devices. You want to put those on the Wi-Fi, on the guest Wi-Fi. This will give your other Wi-Fi that you use for your PCs, your mobile devices for your family. You're going to want to keep those more secure, but all the IoT, friends, families, whoever may be coming in, you want to put them on the guest Wi-Fi. As each device will have a table with Wi-Fi and passwords from known connections that they've been on, so if you don't want that password that you configured earlier out on everyone else's devices that come in and use your Wi-Fi, you want to put them on the guest Wi-Fi with a separate password. WPS, what is it? What does it do? It's a Wi-Fi protecting setup. Essentially is a 8-bit key. If it uses a PIN, it allows a printer, for example, to connect to the Wi-Fi without using that password that you used earlier. If it has a PIN, it's typically 8 characters long, and it will transmit that PIN, will gain access to the Wi-Fi that way. Hackers can intercept this, they can break that WPS pin, and they can also use that to gain access despite how long or complex or strong that password may be that you set earlier. So by disabling it, you are stopping that pin from being transmitted and used. However, there is a workaround for this. If you do want to use WPS for your printer, you can push the button on your router and your printer. Some routers have it on the interface, some have it on the actual router themselves, some have both. As you can see, mine does. And then you go to whatever device, for example, in this case a printer, you hit the WPS, the 3-minute window that the two devices will be able to configure in. And after the 3 minutes, the connection drops, and hackers won't be able to use that to gain access. So my final tip, I know I said 5, but I'll give you another one if you made it this far. This one again is a little bit of a debate whether or not it's worth doing or not. Personally, I like it. It's just allowing MAC addresses of devices onto your network. And what I mean by MAC address is media access control. Each device, mobile device, whatever it may be, has a unique MAC address. So in the settings in the Wi-Fi, you can, as I recommend doing if you're just setting up the router now and you're just putting devices on now, is each device you add, after you add the Wi-Fi to that device, you've given them the password and now they've connected, is to keep the interface open on your router and then just allow each device, so that way after you've added all the devices, there's an allow list. That way if anyone does try and gain access or anyone does get your password, they won't be able to connect straight away because they won't allow the MAC address. Now, I know people are gonna say that yep, you can spoof MAC addresses and you can change the MAC address of your device, imitate someone else's. It can be done, that's why it's a little bit of a controversial thing, but if you wanna take that extra step to protect your Wi-Fi, I recommend doing it. Alright, so that concludes my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you can benefit from my tips. And hopefully now you can go ahead and set up your router, set up your Wi-Fi, your guest Wi-Fi, and better secure yourself and your devices. My name is Sam. This is Cyber and Secure. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one.